We could have had a meeting, but most likely they wasn't gonna be bought back. And it was mostly chiefly because of budget. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I didn't have it. It's just when you think about the factors and this, that, and the other, it's just I was gonna move in a different direction.
Yeah.
That person has been fairly compensated, wellly compensated, never underpaid, and has been a long time contractor as far as the talent with me for about 4.5 years. But I don't believe that person is handling that well. And I do believe it is, well, if I'm not going to be here, let me knock some tables over along the way.
Yeah.
But I feel like that is an isolated incident. That's an isolated
So
thing.
there's really one person that's mad right now.
Oh, yeah, but hyper mad. Really, really mad.
Yeah, misguided anger, feels like.
Well, you know what? Let me not give my opinion. I don't know whether it's mad, sad, or whatever. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But what I can say is, because the people gonna know when they're watching it. You know, this is my first time in my life I've had to sue somebody. It's at a level because it's not just me. We talking about the 50 contractors that I'm talking about. This is influencing damaging the reputation of tonight's conversation. It's damaging the reputation of me. Directly correlates to ticket sales, and now some people may not be able to feed their family.
Livelihoods.
Yeah, livelihoods are affected. So it's not just a fight for me; it's a fight for truth. And then the goal was to try to get the disparagement to stop, the defamation to stop.
Yeah.
There's a gag order in place, and it's been in place for 2 weeks that this person is continuing to ignore.
Well, that tells you everything you need to know about how they view business.
Exactly.
It's like if you don't want to honor a gag order, you don't give a fuck about nothing, which means you don't give a fuck about what we building over here either. That's why it's almost like you said, I don't even care about the house anymore. Let me just knock it all down.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, did you ever, were there exclusive deals with them? Like, could they not, like, so somebody's
No.
big on your show, say,
No.
they could have did their own podcast.
Outside of the 40 days that we did tours, they could do anything that they wanted to do.
They just weren't motivated.
They did. No, they tried. So they could do their own podcasts. They can do their own shows. They can have their own products. I am an artist-friendly person because I started as a poet.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I don't even have these people in long-term, or my artists in long-term contracts. We do tour by tour. Now, at some point, anybody could have came up to me and said, hey, listen, I'd rather trade the ability to negotiate after every tour for 2 years of security. Somebody could have did that. They could have been like, hey, listen, just make sure I'm on 80% of the shows at this rate. It's favor for you.
And we good.
And then we good. Nobody did that.
Yeah.
But then I always, after every 6 months or every tour we got done, they had the ability to renegotiate or go somewhere else. And so when we talk about some of the other talent that may have decided to go somewhere else professionally, it was professional the way they did it. That's because that's the nature of it. I don't want to keep you here. I don't put you in 360s. I don't do what you give me. Even though if you start your own podcast, could that potentially dilute my ability to market you to mine? Yes, but no. Go ahead, do your thing. And so that's how we've always operated.
Somebody thought to themselves, I'm going to do a show. I want you to put it on tonight's conversation app. We could do a split. You promote it. You own it. What's good, y'all? This is Ray Daniels, a.k.a. the Culture Referee. And I'm here to talk to you about YKTV Magazine, which is the #1 magazine for prison entertainment. These prisoners are sitting in jail. They have nothing to do but read these magazines and read your ads, buy your music, support your business, anything that you can do that's online commerce. They already have published over 140 magazines with 36 major artists that have covered it. And I'm giving you an opportunity to advertise this magazine and get directly to an audience that you know has the time and the money to spend. Info at the bottom, info at the Gauds Show. Holla at us, whether you're an artist, producer, whoever you are. We can help you with your business. Holla at us to get to YKTV. With me.
So, no.
That's different.
No, we've had, so like Keita Rose, she started her own podcast called Unmedicated and Educated with Keita Rose.
Okay.
She self-funded it, self-did it, self-this, and she put it on her YouTube. Kitty J. Rose started her own podcast called Talk to Me Kitty. She did it herself, put it on her own her Patreon. We had Trip Fontaine. He started his own called Trip After Dark. He self-produced it, self-did it, put it on his own Patreon. Very rarely have people come to me and say, let's partner on this. I understand it though, right? Because some people want to censor their own. And I didn't have a problem with that. You get what I'm saying? I ain't have a problem with that.
If they think it like that, they don't understand business. They still own the IP. They just basically license it to you and then they can take, like literally Rory and Mal, to me, are like every other podcast, is just they came from Joe. So it's like, let's go follow them. Like, you know what I mean? It's no, you feel me?
I know.
Because as a businessman, I'm like, okay, this guy's making money. He has a plan. How can I build my business within this?
So let me.
Well, you might start getting some calls after this podcast.
Let me. Since
you know that, right?
Since you brought this up, I know we don't want to get into the weeds of it, but I want to just say this part. This is because it's important in context while we on here. Few seconds. There was an accusation of financial abuse by Keita Rose.
Okay.
That's unequivocally false. She was paid. She said it on the podcast. She did Tasha K. She told her rate that she got paid per show, which was $14,500 per show. You do the math on that through the year.
Hold on, what?
$14,500 per show.
Is she still mad?
But anyway, so it shifts to Ebony. My publicist don't like when I say it. She said it perfectly first, and I just want everybody to know that she was paid that per show. It was a probably 200 to 300 increase from the spring, and she was paid on time every single time. Whenever she needed an advance for her show or for travel or whatever what she needed to do for her assistant, because her assistant's travel she had herself a +1. We allowed it her and a +1 to cover their travel. And then anything after that, you have to cover yours. That was in the spring. In the fall, we just gave them an all-in rate, and you can do whatever you wanted to do. But she was given 2 advances, one in January that she paid back in April. Now, you understand when I give an advance, that's money I got to give. My money I got to give to somebody earlier than they earned it. And then also she got an advance in August earlier than it was allotted because I messed with. So she was paid on time. If you can look at the lawsuit, it'll tell you how much she made that year. But the allegations of financial abuse, she was saying on Tasha K that it is because I promised to invest in her podcast, and when it was time for me to reimburse her for the money she put up, I said no. And the reason I want to say this on this podcast, because we're talking exactly about this. She did not mention anything about any plans to do a podcast. I found out about her podcast when she posted about her podcast and it being very well produced on, you can go to Instagram, everybody can look it up. If you go to her Instagram, Unmedicated Convos, the first time I was aware that she did a podcast is when she made the public post about announcing her podcast. So it had already been done. It was like December 9th, 2023. We had no discussions about investment. And I'm gonna tell you this, not to brag, not to say anything. I have, and I said it before in this interview, so this is not me making it up. I have never, ever, ever had people put up any money in things I invested in, ever. I would have never had her put up any money for something that was supposed to go on my app. And she would have been paid, if I was to do something like that, just hypothetically thinking, she would have been paid as the host and organizer of it. And I would have paid for it to be produced, and then I would have got the money on the back end.
Yeah.
That's how that would have been structured.
Yeah.
And I want to say this last thing to this accusation. I think she was saying something that it was $30,000, $40,000. I don't need you to put up $30,000, $40,000 for me to pay you back after you get done. I don't need you to do that. So I just want to go on that point because we were here, and I know you said you didn't want to get in a mess, but I wanted to verbally just deny that accusation of finding. So when we're talking about the podcast thing, most times what happens, especially in this situation, is people assume that it's easier than it is. And instead of starting small, because all you needed to do your own podcast, get a couple lights, a couple cameras, a mic, keep it small.
You could have got your phone if you be honest with you.
Keep it small.
Keep it
keep it small. But, you know, you took your own risk, and I applaud that. I applaud it. But I just wonder now why that didn't give you a better perspective on the risk I'm taking every single time we go on the road.
Because she took her bet. It goes back to what I said. The world favors the bold, the one that's willing to bet, and she bet, and it didn't work out. So then it can't be my fault it didn't work out. It got to be someone else's. So you start looking for blame. That's what I see most people doing. It's like, shit don't go right. It's like, who fault is it? It's like, dog, it's always your fault because it's you. And that's why I respect what you're saying about controlling everything, because it's like, this is me. If this doesn't work, everybody leaves paid, everybody leaves happy, and I'm fucked.
Oh, yo, let me say this one thing. I did Atlanta in the spring. Atlanta at the Georgia War Congress Center. I probably went up like 40. I went up like 40. Did Montgomery the next day, went down 70. I don't cut my staff for shows that don't sell well. Everybody stay on. All 8 of them. Every video person, every person that scanned tickets, every usher. I did Chicago, went up probably like 80, maybe 90. But Milwaukee the day before, I went down 60.
Oh, you talking about the ticket prices when you say it went down?
No. The door. I was down 60,000.
Oh, you lost 60. Oh, okay, cool. Never mind. Okay, now I got it. Perfect.
My point is, like, if you go to 2024, nobody was ever cut from shows due to ticket sales. I swallowed it. I swallowed it. I mean, anytime you go into a room and there's not over 2,500 people, you best believe I'm taking a loss.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm not sitting here saying that that's a shared experience that should be with the people I'm paying. But it's like undeniably hurtful in this moment.
Yeah.
When the accusations of financial abuse is happening to somebody that made over $400,000 last year. Sorry, Ebony. Publics don't like to say that.
But this is coming from someone that prides himself on integrity, right? This is your thing,
integrity.
Right?
It's integrity. So if you made $411,000 last year for 40 days of half work, when I know I dropped down 70 in Milwaukee. You get what I'm saying?
The disrespect.
And then, so now when I'm talking about the integrity of tonight's conversation, when I'm everybody in the industry know I pay people. Everybody know I'm probably most people's first paying podcast.
Yeah.
You in the podcast game, most times people pay you to be on your podcast.
Yes.
That's especially in Atlanta, that's how it work down here.
Yep.
You paying this person to get on their podcast. I'm paying you. And not only am I paying you, I'm flying you out and I'm putting you in a hotel. Not only am I taking people on tour, you get your own merch. Every time I get 7 people in a room with merch table, guess what happened to my merch? It dilutes.
Yep.
I could easily say nobody got merch but me.
Yep.
It's the integrity part.
Yeah.
And the thing is about reputation, I'm not sitting here acting like a victim. I do think I'm a victim in this situation though. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like a victim, man. But it's hurtful because that's how fast like your reputation, and it's not your reputation, right? It's other people, you know. But that's how fast it can go. You can get one person with a loud enough microphone to make people feel like you're not handling your business.
Or, it's to be honest with you, it's the game. You can get 300 comments, 299 is positive. That one person says, bitch ass motherfucker, that's the motherfucker you want to address, right? It's people like to focus in, hyper focusing on negativity because you can't be that excellent. You can't be that good.
And because it's easy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they want to focus on reputation. So to me, like I said, that's why I didn't want to get into it. And I know Will didn't watch it either because it's like, I don't want to be the person that says, ooh, and let me tell you. It's like, dog, You listen, you're saying this on record. One thing I say to anybody is I'm online talking every fucking day.
Yeah.
If I was a snake, if I was any of those things, something would have came out, even if it snuck and came out through a back door of like, let me tell you who this dude really is. That's why, because my reputation is all I have. And it's literally all my family has. And when you're trying to take it down, because you have a lack of understanding, that's the frustrating part.
Can I clarify one more thing?
Please.
I don't want the internet thinking that you're just going to walk into tonight's conversation and your rate going to be 14.5.
Yeah, but she probably grew with you, though.
No, she was there. Remember how I talked about the first thing before we even had a podcast? She was there when we had tonight's conversation. It was just the card games. She was there, and this is the balance to this part. She was there when it was.
She under stripes.
A revenue split, and sometimes we didn't make that much, and I just gave her a couple dollars. The first time we toured, she might have. I mean, it's in a lawsuit, so it ain't like I'm saying. She probably got $1,500 a show, then it went to $3,500, then it went to $4,500, then it went to $6,500. So it was a progression, and that's the one thing that I want people to understand about tonight's conversation. You do your thing on the stage, you become a fan favorite. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got you.
Yeah.
And then my hope going forward is when you get to that point where, all right, I on the tour, when I gotta pay for all the other stuff, maybe that rate we now priced out. Now we can get to yo thing on the app, your solo tour. Because here's the thing, I already proved I know how to market you.
Yeah.
I already proved that your fans are here. So we can keep it in. And that's the part that I got to learn to grow. I got to make sure that people understand that this part is, the panel part is the springboard to your solo doing. You know what I'm saying?
It's like a group. It's like.
It's a springboard. And I got to do a better, that's the part I want to do a better job at. You feel me? Is, and that's why I said, maybe I got to take a little step back from in front of the camera so that I can make sure I keep these relations and I can be like, yo, let's start working on this sooner. You know what I mean? Because the last thing I want to do as a talent scout and manager is to lose talent.
Yeah.
No matter for what the reason. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even got to be nothing like malicious. It's like, hold on, you worked in the music industry. This thing, I don't know how execs be feeling or labels be feeling, but it's like, hold on.
You got some fucking nerve.
You know how much money I done put into this shit? And not to you, but yeah, around you and growing you, and it's like, so I want to do a better job there with just that. But I'm telling you, this is my first rodeo with the type of things that you guys have been seeing on the internet. I've never had to deal with that before, and so I'm like learning to take the punches with it. But the business side of it, I also have to take some accountability in saying, there has to be a better. Not even explanation. It has to be, I have to do a really great job in finding really quality fits in this situation.